Yes.
Bloopers at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What you reading there?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No.
No.
Do you think that Wellington promotes spirituality?
It definitely does, especially as we have such a beautiful chapel, and that's the real heart to Wellington. So, that's one of the ways that we can have spirituality in our lives. But there's also others, such as
The spiritual pod in the library.
Absolutely.
And I think it's good because everyone at Wellington kind of gets involved with spirituality regardless of your religious beliefs. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Religion isn't spirituality and everyone can get involved.
And do you think the school promotes spirituality well?
Yeah, I think they do quite a good job. I think it's important to remember that it's kind of okay if you're not spiritual. It's kind of okay if you are spiritual, and it's just about kind of making sure that you get involved and see whether you like it, because you don't know whether you're going to suit it or want to be spiritual or kind of, have that connection if you don't try it.
When you first became headmaster at Wellington, was it a very spiritual school? And if it wasn't, what was your first priority in making it more spiritual and people being more involved with well-being?
Well, I think it was a spiritual place. The school was founded as a royal and a religious foundation back in 1859 by Queen Victoria, and we have that fantastic chapel that was opened in 1863, so it's the 150th anniversary. So, in our traditions we are religious, and we have that wonderful building and the crypt chapel below it. So, but I thought that we also perhaps needed to do some things, and two particular things were to have more stillness, because for me perhaps my favourite line in certainly the Old Testament is from a psalm that says, "Be still and know that I am God." And the second thing I did was to try and do more for other faiths, because I do not believe myself that Christianity is the only way.
Have you applied anything that you've learnt about well-being and spirituality through the years? Have you applied that to your own personal life or your schoolwork? Do you think it's helped in the long run?
It's difficult to say. It's difficult to look at a tangible benefit from spirituality, but I think actually the benefits we get are actually quite difficult to sort of pin down. You can't really analyse and quantify the sense of community you feel after a Sunday chapel service. You can't really capture that sense of community after congers on a Friday morning. It's so difficult to put that down, but that is the benefit that you get, and it's not necessarily the fact that we may have applied spiritual techniques in our work or anything. It's just the much broader benefits that you get from the kind of community that a place like the chapel inspires.
No, going back to your question as well, it's quite difficult to know whether things like the well-being classes have actually been directly applied to the way that we learn and how much we've benefited from it. But I think it's good that our school has a spiritual aptitude and has well-being classes, because it makes us aware of it and then it makes us think about it. So at least it's there.
So, overall, do you think that spirituality is still relevant for teenagers in our society?
Yeah, completely. I think there is a tendency amongst people our age to kind of just see things in an economic benefit, in terms of, I'm only going to do something if I get money for it, or if I'm going to get something out of it, or if it's going to benefit me in the long run. but there is a way of doing it for the spirituality side of things. I think it is important for people our age. Charles Taylor.
Overall, we can see that Wellington does a great deal to promote spirituality throughout the school.
Whether it's a Wednesday stillness sessions or reminders of the 8 aptitudes and a focus on enhancing the spiritual aptitudes, it is important that we keep spirituality in our lives to make us less stressed and more peaceful people.